Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel Simply Commerce. So welcome back to part 3 of theory base of accounting. So let's begin. The first concept that we are going to do today is materiality concept. It is materiality concept. According to this concept, every business must record and report all the material facts in the financial statements so that it can influence the decisions of the users. Material facts का मतलब है all the relevant facts. जो important facts हैं, the accountant should record and report it in the financial statement so that the users are able to see those material facts and make rational decisions. ठीक है. अब materiality मतलब अब जो भी facts हैं वो relevant हैं कि नहीं, it depends on the nature, on its nature and the amount. ठीक है. So materiality of facts depends on its nature and amount. I'm going to explain this to you through an example. अब एक थिएटर है, ठीक है, एक पर्सन है ए, ही इज द ओनर ऑफ अ थिएटर, तो उसका थिएटर का बिजनेस है. नाउ ही स्पेंड्स 50 लाख. हाउ मच इज ही स्पेंडिंग? ही इज स्पेंडिंग 50 lakhs ऑन क्रिएटिंग एडिशनल कैपेसिटी इन द थिएटर. तो वो 50 लाख का खर्चा कर रहा है ताकि उसकी जो थिएटर में, जैसे इमेजिन करो कि 100 सीट्स थी, अब वो उसको एक्सपैंड करके करना चाहता है 300. तो वो 50 लाख का खर्चा कर रहा है ताकि उसकी थिएटर की सीटिंग कैपेसिटी 300 लोगों की हो जाए. सो दिस 50 lakh, it is a material fact, it's a huge amount that he is spending, है ना. तो this 50 lakh is a material fact because it is, जो ये एक्सपेंडिचर कर रहा है, this will help him in earning more revenue in future. This will increase his earning capacity, है ना. His business will expand. इस रीजन की वजह से वो ये एक्सपेंडिचर कर रहा है इतना बड़ा. The amount is huge, 50 lakh. So here this 50 lakh that he is spending, that he will disclose in the books of accounts. मतलब in the final accounts he will reveal this fact. He will reveal this material fact. समझ में आया? So materiality depends on the amount and nature. Amount भी बहुत बड़ा होता है and the nature is that it increases the earning capacity of the business. It helps in the expansion of the business. अब अगर the second example is अगर business अपना depreciation का method change करती है, if it changes from straight line method to written down value method. So this is also a material fact which must be shared with the users. ठीक है, users को पता होना चाहिए कि depreciation method change हो गया because this will affect the profitability of the business. So users should know this material fact. ठीक है. अब एक और एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको देती हूँ. ठीक है, वन मोर एग्जाम्पल आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू. एक फर्म है, ठीक है, एंड इट इज बाइंग स्टेपलर and boxes of eraser for its office. ठीक है, and these staplers and erasers will last for many years, है ना. करेगा कि नहीं करेगा? It will. But the accountant, तो but accountant जो होगा उसको एक asset की तरह नहीं लेगा. हमने क्या पढ़ा है कि assets are those items which provide long term benefits. अब ये भी तो long term benefits provide कर रहे हैं. We are using it for many years. ठीक है, but ये इसका जो amount होगा, it is so small. स्टेपलर कितने का आता है? इट इज मैक्स टू मैक्स रुपीज 50. अ बॉक्स ऑफ इरेजर्स रुपीज 70. ठीक है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा. तो ये जो अकाउंटेंट है, इट विल नॉट कंसिडर दीज एज असेट्स. इनको असेट्स की तरह नहीं लेगा. ही विल नॉट वेस्ट हिज टाइम ऑन कैलकुलेटिंग. अब असेट्स होंगे तो उसमें डेप्रिसिएशन होता है कि नहीं होता है? व्हेन यू यूज द असेट्स ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, देन दे अंडरगो डेप्रिसिएशन. मशीनरी को आप यूज कर रहे हो, वेयर एंड टेयर होगा. पर इसमें क्या वेयर एंड टेयर होगा? So the accountant will not waste his time on calculating depreciation of these items. ठीक है, इतना छोटा अमाउंट है. The amount is so small. So what he will do, ये जो stapler और ये box of erasers है, he will not record it as assets and he will record them as revenue expenses. Expense की तरह treat करेगा वो. So it is not a material fact. It is not material and simply the accountant is going to treat it as a revenue expense and forgets and not treat them as assets. तो accountant ये करेगा. हियर ये छोटा मोटा जो खर्चा कर रहा है, इवन दो एक तरह से वो असेट्स हैं, they are being used for a long time, but इतना कम amount है that it's not a material fact to be disclosed in as assets in the balance sheet. Understood? It's such a small amount, so what he will do, he will treat it as a revenue expense. एक particular revenue expense क्या होता है, जो expense आप करते हो for one financial year, within one financial year its benefit expires, okay. So I've given you 3 examples of material facts, क्या होते हैं और क्या नहीं होते. So material facts need to be disclosed through the financial statements, and कैसे करेंगे हम उन material facts को disclose? Through notes of accounts and through footnotes, which we have already discussed, है ना, ये क्या होते हैं. And when the users read these material facts in the notes to accounts or footnotes, they can make rational decisions based on these material facts disclosed in the financial statements. So have you understood? Okay. Okay, so now the next concept that we are going to do is called the prudence concept. Another name for prudence concept is conservatism concept. ठीक है, first I'll give you a general example. ठीक है, अब जैसे मैं हूँ, ठीक है, मेरी सैलरी आती है. So what I do, I plan out things, don't I? मैं plan out करती हूँ चीजें. Now if I have bought a house, मेरा एक घर मैंने खरीदा है, and that is on construction linked plan, कि मतलब जैसे जैसे construction होगा, I'm going to pay the installments for my house. Now अभी कुछ time से construction is halted due to some reasons, ठीक है, but मुझे अभी सुनने में आया है कि again the construction is going to start. तो immediately मेरा दिमाग में मैं क्या कहूंगी कि हो सकता है this month I might have to pay the installment. It might come up, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है. So immediately what I'll do, I'll take out my diary in which I write all my expenses and all, and immediately I'll write कि इतने का installment हो सकता है, it might come up, so I should be prepared. तो मैं अपना सैलरी में से खर्चा उसी तरीके से करूंगी. Understood? ये तो हो गया एक general principle, general example. Now let's go to a business example. Now imagine there is a firm which has sold goods on credit for rupees 5,000 to AB company. ठीक है, तो अब ये जो फर्म है उसको एक इंफॉर्मेशन आती है, it gets to know that AB company is not doing well. It is not doing well. So the firm has a doubt whether the AB company will be able to pay back its debt of 5,000. AB कंपनी कौन है फर्म के? दे आर द डेटर्स है ना. तो अब फर्म को लग रहा है कि AB कंपनी की तो मतलब इट्स नॉट डूइंग वेल, सो will it be able to pay back its rupees 5,000? So immediately according to the prudence concept, immediately firm क्या करेगी? Firm will create a provision for doubtful debts. It will create a provision for doubtful debts of rupees 5,000, so that अगर by chance वो debtor AB company will not pay, it is able to bear the loss if it happens. It is able to bear the loss if it happens. मतलब उनको अचानक से शॉक तो नहीं लगेगा. समझ में आ गया? जैसे कि मैंने अपने जनरल एग्जांपल में मैंने क्या बोला था कि इमीडिएटली मैं नोट डाउन कर दूंगी कि इंस्टॉलमेंट पे करना है. तो एकदम से अगर इंस्टॉलमेंट आएगा, आई वोंट बी astonished, I won't be like taken aback, अरे बाप रे इतना सारा मुझे पे करना है, because I've already anticipated that it might come up. So this is what is prudence law. Prudence concept is this only. What is prudence concept? Ki you anticipate the future expenses and losses and you create provisions for it to bear the loss if it happens. I'll give you one more example. Now there is a firm and a case is going on in the court. ठीक है, इस फर्म का केस चल रहा है कोर्ट में ऑफ रुपीज 1 करोड़. कितने का? ऑफ रुपीज 1 करोड़. एंड द लॉयर, जो लॉयर है फर्म का, इट टेल्स द फर्म दैट हो सकता है हम लोग ये केस हार जाए. वी माइट वर्ड यूज कराए, दैट वी माइट लूज द केस. हारे नहीं है अभी. He is saying that we might, ऐसा लग रहा है, circumstances are suggesting that we might lose the case and we might end up paying rupees 1 crore to the other party. ठीक है, so immediately according to the prudence concept, if the firm is following the prudence concept, then the firm will immediately record the rupees 1 crore as a loss to business in their books of accounts. It is better to be prepared for the expense or the loss than be surprised. This is very very important. This is what is prudence concept. ठीक है, better be prepared for the expense or loss rather than be surprised. ओके, तो इमीडिएटली वो नोट डाउन कर लेगी कि हो सकता है 1 करोड़ हमको लॉस हो जाए, इट हैज नॉट हैपेंड, ठीक है। सो व्हाट इज द प्रूडेंस कॉन्सेप्ट? अब हम प्रूडेंस कॉन्सेप्ट की डेफिनेशन देखें। सो अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्रूडेंस कॉन्सेप्ट, हाउ डू वी रिकॉर्ड द प्रॉफिट? वी रिकॉर्ड द प्रॉफिट ओनली व्हेन इट इज रियलाइज्ड। प्रॉफिट जब तक वो होता नहीं है तब तक हम उसको रिकॉर्ड नहीं करते। बट द लॉसेस एंड एक्सपेंसेस, हाउ आर दे रिकॉर्डेड? If they happen or they occur, they are recorded. And even if they don't happen, but you are anticipating, the business is anticipating that it can occur in future but have not yet occurred, these anticipated losses and expenses are also recorded, are also recorded, ठीक है। So according to the prudence concept, profit is recorded when it is realized, only when it is realized। जब तक वो प्रॉफिट होगा नहीं तब तक आप रिकॉर्ड नहीं करोगे। पर लॉसेस एंड एक्सपेंसेस अगर वो अकर हो गए हैं, अगर बाय चांस आपको लॉस हो गया है, एक्सपेंस आपने कर दिया है, तब तो ऑब्वियसली यू आर गोइंग टू रिकॉर्ड इट। बट समटाइम्स देयर आर सम लॉसेस एंड एक्सपेंसेस व्हिच यू एंटिसिपेट, यू प्रिडिक्ट कि हो सकता है, they have not yet occurred, but you are anticipating that they might occur. So those losses and expenses also you are going to record. Understood? So this is what is the prudence concept. A prudence concept is applied in the following cases. जो prudence concept है आप following cases में apply करते हो. Like first is your provision for doubtful debts. Provision for doubtful debts मतलब अगर debtors जो है firm के they are not able to pay, आप क्या करते हो, आप जो डेटर्स होते हैं उनमें से कुछ को आप एंटिसिपेट करते हो कि हो सकता है इसके ना, ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये नहीं देंगे, 2% will not give, 2% of the debtors will not give. So what you'll do, you'll immediately create a provision so that if in future these 2% debtors are will not pay back, then you are not taken aback, आप surprise नहीं होगे, because you have already created a provision for doubtful debts. Now discount to debtors, discount to debtors कैसे होगा? डिस्काउंट टू डेटर्स इज इसमें प्रूडेंस लॉ कैसे अप्लाई होगा? देखो जो डेटर्स होते हैं उसमें से बिकॉज ऑफ द पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस द बिजनेस इज एबल टू एंटिसिपेट कि इतने डेटर्स तो हमेशा टाइम पे पे करते हैं, तो हम जो टाइम पे पे करते हैं उन डेटर्स को क्या देते हैं? डिस्काउंट देते हैं। सो अगर 2% डेटर्स आर गुड डेटर्स, सो दे विल गेट द डिस्काउंट, and due to the past experience the firm is able to anticipate that expense, है ना। तो immediately आप क्या करोगे कि हाँ ये डिस्काउंट हम पहले से ही एंटिसिपेट, इट्स एन एक्सपेंस फॉर द फर्म दैट माइट अकर। अभी वो क्लेम नहीं करा है, डेटर्स ने ये डिस्काउंट क्लेम नहीं करा है, बट ड्यू टू द पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस आप कह रहे हो कि हाँ इसमें से 2% डेटर्स तो हमेशा ही टाइम पे करते हैं, इनको तो देना ही पड़ेगा डिस्काउंट। सो यू आर एंटिसिपेटिंग दैट एक्सपेंस एंड यू आर अप्लाइंग द प्रूडेंस कॉन्सेप्ट, इमीडिएटली यू आर सेटिंग असाइड दैट डिस्काउंट एज एन एक्सपेंस। देन राइटिंग ऑफ गुडविल, गुडविल इज एन इंटेंजिबल एसेट, है ना। तो गुडविल क्या होता है? इट्स रेपुटेशन ऑफ द फर्म। नाउ रेपुटेशन ऑफ द फर्म इज वेरी अनसर्टेन, इट कैन fall any time, it can go down any time due to some scandal, due to you're not producing well, मतलब maybe जो goods आप produce कर रहे हो that quality is not up to the mark, है ना। तो your goodwill or reputation might come down, so it is better to write off the goodwill over the years, उसको आप धीरे धीरे write off कर दो according to the prudence law, because why do you want to keep a very high amount as goodwill? गुडविल का क्या यूज है? गुडविल को आप डेट्स को पे ऑफ करने के लिए बेच भी नहीं सकते हो। यू कैन नॉट यूज द गुडविल टू सेल, यू कैन नॉट सेल द गुडविल टू बैंक्स so that you are able to pay back your loans. You cannot do that with goodwill, है ना, because it's an intangible asset. So it's better not to keep a high value as goodwill because it can go down any time, there is very much uncertainty, so it's better you write it off over the years. Now writing of patents. Patents, what are patents? Patents are exclusive rights given for new inventions. अगर कोई new invention करता है then patent is granted for that invention for a certain number of years, but patents also they eventually expire. अगर वो number of years expire हो जाते हैं then the patent will expire, and अगर उससे भी better कोई new invention होता है and new technology के basis पे वो new invention होता है, then your patent might become useless, है ना। So according to the prudence concept, it is better to write off this patent wala expense. It's better to write it off over its useful life. उसको धीरे धीरे depreciation की तरह आप write off कर दो, ठीक है. If we keep the patents in the books of accounts at a very high price or at a very high original cost, then और अगर कोई technological advances होते हैं and your patents become old and useless, then you are lying. The business is lying about that asset. Patent is an intangible asset, na? So you are lying about the asset. You are showing the patents at a very high value, even though actually they are useless now, because now they are old technology. So it's better to write it off in the books of account and make the balance sheet more realistic. So prudence law is uh, implemented in writing off goodwill and writing off patents. What is the rule? According to the prudence law, don't keep intangible assets at a higher value forever. Please don't do that, because it's of no use. Okay. The fifth point, or the fifth item where prudence law is applied, is closing stock to be valued at cost or market value, whichever is less. In cost or market value में से जो भी less है, at that value the closing stock will be valued. So here prudence law is applied. How? I'll explain it to you through an example. Now a firm has a stock of mobile phones and the stock is worth rupees 10 lakh. Okay, so this is the cost of the mobile phones which the firm has. Now these mobile phones are not sold. Okay, they are in stock. Now newer versions of the mobile phones have come up in the market. Okay, so the people, they will prefer to buy the newer versions with upgraded technology. So these mobile phones which the firm has in stock, now the market value of these mobile phones in the market is just rupees 7 lakh. So this 7 lakh is the market value and it has gone down. Because why? Because now these mobile phones have become a little obsolete, because newer versions have come up in the market. So obviously its market value will go down. So now the firm will record the stock of mobile phones at what price? Will it record at cost or will it record at market value? So according to the prudence concept, we will record the closing stock of mobiles at market value in this case, because it is less. Whichever is less. Whichever is less. Whichever is less. तो इस केस में cost 10 lakh है and market value 7 lakh है. So the business will record the closing stock of mobiles at 7 lakh. At 7 lakh, as it is less. Why is the firm doing this? Because according to the prudence concept, it is acknowledging the loss. It is not closing its eyes and saying नहीं नहीं हमारे पास तो 10 lakh का stock है. You acknowledge the loss in prudence concept and you record that in your financial statements. Okay, so these are the various examples where prudence law is applied. Okay, so please note this down. And this is a very very important, this closing stock wala, mostly in your MCQs it comes that closing stock should be valued at cost or market value, whichever is less, according to which concept. So you have to write the concept is prudence concept. It's very very important. Okay, so just note it down. Now the next concept that we are going to do is objectivity. It is objectivity. Objectivity means transactions of the business are to be recorded on the basis of evidence. Objectivity कब होगी? जब transactions जो business record कर रहा है, they are recorded on the basis of some proof. There should be a proof of the transaction. अगर आप sale कर रहे हो तो sale invoice, purchase कर रहे हो तो purchase invoice, bills must be there. So transactions must be supported by verifiable documents or vouchers. So what are the different types of verifiable documents? Cash memo, any receipt, invoices, bills, delivery challan. Delivery challan is for credit purchase, sales invoice. कोई भी ऐसे documents जो support करते हैं or and which are evidence of the transactions bring objectivity to the recording of transactions. Okay, and this makes the accounting transactions to be recorded in an objective manner. तो अगर transactions objective way से record होते हैं on the basis of verifiable documents, then they are free from bias. अगर ऐसा हम करेंगे तो क्या होगा? They are free from the bias of accountants. Accountants can not do any manipulation in the value of the transaction because the proofs are there. They are also error free. ठीक है, एक तो bias of accountant से free हो जाएंगे transactions, they will be error free and there will be less probability of fraud. ठीक है, now this objectivity concept is based on historical cost concept. अभी जब हमने historical cost concept करा था तब मैंने ये वाला बात वहां पे बताया था कि historical concept leads to objectivity. Why? Because firms अपने जो असेट्स होते हैं उनको किस पे रिकॉर्ड करती है? Assets are recorded at book value, cost minus depreciation, and not at market value. Why? Because market value keeps changing from place to place and person to person. ठीक है, तो अगर आप मार्केट वैल्यू पे रिकॉर्ड करोगे, so you'll have to keep changing the value of the asset. ठीक है, so it will be a total mess. So it's better to record the assets at book value, which is based on historical cost concept, है ना? And this book value can be verified. जो आपने cost, जिस कॉस्ट पे आपने असेट को परचेज कराया, अगर उस पे ही आप उसको रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हो, दैट लीड्स टू ऑब्जेक्टिविटी, बिकॉज यू कैन वेरीफाई दैट कॉस्ट थ्रू द डॉक्यूमेंट्स, okay, through vouchers, through invoices. So historical cost concept leads to objectivity. ठीक है, objectivity is maintained by recording assets at book value or cost and not market value. And also the cost can be easily verified through invoices or bills. Thus historical cost concept helps in objectivity concept. समझ में आया? हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट कॉन्सेप्ट से आप बुक वैल्यू या कॉस्ट पे किसी असेट को रिकॉर्ड करते हो, एंड दिस, और उससे ऑब्जेक्टिविटी कैसे लीड होती है? बिकॉज that cost you can verify through the invoices and bills. So historical concept leads to objectivity. Understood? So please note down this very important concept. Now, there are three basic assumptions which all firms must follow, and they have to follow. Okay, so the three assumptions are going concern assumption, consistency assumption, and accrual assumption. So we'll do all the three fast. Okay, so first one is the going concern assumption. Going concern assumption means that the accountant prepares the final accounts. When he prepares the final accounts, he assumes that the business will continue to operate for a long time. It will not wind up immediately. ठीक है, जो अकाउंटेंट है वो सोचेगा कि बिजनेस लंबे टाइम तक चलेगा, वो ये नहीं सोचेगा कि बिजनेस जल्दी वाइंड अप हो जाएगा, डिसॉल्व हो जाएगा. ठीक है, सो द बिजनेस विल कंटिन्यू टू ऑपरेट फॉर एवर, और द बिजनेस विल कंटिन्यू इट्स एक्टिविटीज फॉर एन इनडेफिनिट पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. Second assumption जो वो करेगा is that business will not dissolve or liquidate in the near future. Now, why is the accountant assuming that the business will continue for a long time and it will not dissolve immediately? Because then the accountant is able to spread the cost of an asset over its benefit years. ठीक है, अगर जैसे कि एक डिलीवरी वैन खरीदी गई है for 10 lakh rupees and you assume that the business will continue for 10 years, तो जो अकाउंटेंट है, तो वैन भी लास्ट करेगी 10 years तक. You can use the van for at least 10 years. So the use or the depreciation, जो आप वैन को हर साल यूज कर रहे हो, that use or depreciation, which how do you calculate? Total cost divided by the benefit years. That is 1 lakh rupees will be the depreciation that, or use that that the firm will make of the van. So ये जो depreciation है, that can be charged every year अगर business will continue. So under the going concern, you don't record full 10 lakh as an expense in the year when the asset is purchased. आप इतना बड़ा जो purchase कर रहे हो 10 lakh का, that you will not record it as an expense in the year in which it is purchased. ठीक है, because आप assume कर रहे हो कि firm will continue for at least 10 years. You can spread the cost. आप उसकी cost को 10 years, over the period of 10 years, you can spread the cost of the van. So you can record every year 1 lakh as depreciation, which is an expense. So the accountant assumes business will continue for at least 10 years to use the van. अगर वो ये सोचेगा कि business immediately wind off हो जाएगा या बंद हो जाएगा, then he will have to record this big fat 10 lakh expense in the very first year only. Understood? So this is the good thing about going concern concept. ठीक है, if there is no going concern concept, तब क्या होगा? If the accountant feels that the business will close soon, then he will not be able to spread the cost of the van. वो नहीं कर पाएगा. ठीक है, he will have to record the value of the van at whatever small amount business would have to sell if it would close soon. एक तो वो उस बहुत बड़ी जो कॉस्ट है वैन की, वो उसको स्प्रेड आउट नहीं कर पाएगा ओवर द बेनिफिट ईयर्स, बिकॉज वो इमीडिएटली शट होने के चांसेस हैं बिजनेस के. ठीक है, और उसको क्या करना पड़ेगा? उस वैन, अगर बिजनेस इमीडिएटली शट हो रहा है, तो आप क्या करोगे एसेट्स को? इन केस ऑफ डिसोल्यूशन और लिक्विडेशन क्या करना पड़ता है? एसेट्स को सबको बेचना पड़ता है. तो इमीडिएटली एट व्हाटएवर स्मॉल अमाउंट, अब ये वैन जितने भी अमाउंट पे बिकेगी, वो उस अमाउंट पे आपको उसको रिकॉर्ड कर देना पड़ेगा. Now based on this assumption, accountants can record assets at book value or cost और परचेज और एक्विजिशन प्राइस रादर देन एट मार्केट वैल्यू। ठीक है, तो गोइंग कंसर्न कॉन्सेप्ट में आप असेट्स को किस पे रिकॉर्ड करते हो? एट कॉस्ट और एक्विजिशन प्राइस रादर देन एट मार्केट वैल्यू, बिकॉज मार्केट वैल्यू कीप्स चेंजिंग, है ना। दिस इज बिकॉज अकाउंटेंट को क्या फील होता है कि असेट्स विल बी यूज्ड, as long as the business is there assets will be used, they will not be sold, तो market value की तो जरूरत ही नहीं है, तो at cost only it will record the assets, the business will operate and therefore business will not immediately sell its assets। ठीक है, तो ये एक और पॉइंट हो गया गोइंग कंसर्न कॉन्सेप्ट का। Now going concern concept की वजह से there is a distinction which can be made between revenue expenditure and capital expenditure। revenue expenditure क्या होता है? जिसके benefits are consumed in 1 year, जैसे कि सैलरी आप पे कर रहे हो तो उसके बेनिफिट आप उसी साल कर लोगे ना, है ना। इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल है तो उसी साल आप जितने टाइम पीरियड के लिए आपने पे करा है उतने पीरियड के लिए यू आर गोइंग टू यूज दैट। एंड कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर बेनिफिट्स एक्सटेंड फॉर अ लॉन्ग लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, जैसे कि बाइंग असेट्स, मशीनरी बाय कर रहे हो, आप लैंड बाय कर रहे हो अपने बिजनेस के लिए, इट्स अ कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर, ह्यूज एक्सपेंडिचर। सो गोइंग कंसर्न कॉन्सेप्ट से आप ये दोनों के बीच में डिस्टिंक्शन कर सकते हो, रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर एंड कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर के बीच में। Okay, so these are your concepts, points of going concern concept. Okay, so please note this down. Now let's do the second assumption, which is the consistency assumption. Okay, I'll give you a general example. There is a boy, he gets 92 marks in maths, ठीक है, स्कूल में, and he is given A plus grade because वहाँ पे क्या है, A plus grade का criteria क्या है, it is 90 above. Above 90, everyone is going to get A plus grade. Now he changes a school and he goes to some other place where the same 92 marks, वो उसको A grade मिला है for this same 90, because उनके लिए A plus मतलब क्या है, उनके लिए A plus है above 95, greater than 95, और इसके तो 92 मार्क्स आए हैं, बट पिछले स्कूल में he got A plus। ठीक है, so does it mean that he is not very intelligent? No, it is just that the rule has changed from school to school. Here A plus was given if the child got more than 90, and here in the other school the child will get A plus when he gets more than 95 or 95. Understood? So rules have changed. So consistency, there is no consistency between the grading. Okay, so you cannot compare the grading of both the schools. Now based on this example, it is the consistency assumption which says that don't change the rules of the game halfway through। ठीक है, कभी भी गेम का रूल हाफ वे में चेंज मत करो, because then that comparison and grading will be very difficult. Okay, so what is the consistency assumption in business? Consistency assumption means जो accounting principles, accounting policies firm use कर रही है, that must be followed year after year. Same accounting principles should be used for preparing the financial statements year after year. Why the same accounting principles and policies? Because it makes comparison of financial statements of firms much easier. Inter-firm comparison and intra-firm comparison can be easily done. अगर balance sheet का format, P&L का format same रहेगा throughout, मतलब all firms will follow the same format, तो obviously आप दो firms को भी easily compare कर पाओगे और आप intra-firm comparison भी easily कर पाओगे, है ना। मतलब intra-firm comparison means within the same firm, previous year or current year ka performance you can easily compare. But if the accounting principles concepts keeps changing, then comparison becomes difficult. So business must follow uniform or consistent policies and practices over a period of time. It should not keep changing. इसका example जैसे कि depreciation होता है, depreciation we have got two methods of calculating depreciation, straight line method and written down method. अगर company straight line method follow कर रही है, then it should continue to use this straight line method. If it is using the written down value method, then it should continue to use the written down value method. Understood? The same method should be used, because if you keep changing the method of depreciation, then the profit will be different. The profit that will show will be different, and this is because due to the change in the method of depreciation, which is not correct, okay, which is not realistic. So whatever method business uses, it should continue to use it according to the consistency assumption. ठीक है, If two different methods of depreciation are used in 2 years, then the profit figures will not be comparable. Very, very important. Understood? तो consistency अगर रखोगे, then comparison will be very, very easy. So consistency से क्या होता है? What are the advantages of consistency? It eliminates personal bias and results can be compared very, very easily. है ना? बट कंसिस्टेंसी का ये मतलब नहीं है कि आपने एक अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी फॉलो करी है, सो यू आर गोइंग टू स्टिक टू दैट पॉलिसी. नो, you can make changes in your accounting policies due to change in the nature of your business, या फिर maybe the economic condition of the business is changing, so that is why you'll have to change your accounting policies. But then these changes must be disclosed. It must be fully disclosed in the financial statements, in the footnotes. Full disclosure concept याद आया? हाँ, तो वही है. कंसिस्टेंसी का ये मतलब नहीं है कि इट इज वेरी रिजिड कि आपको बस यही करना है. अगर आप डेप्रिसिएशन मेथड चेंज कर रहे हो, देन यू शुड inform the user about it. You should write a footnote in the financial statement that we are changing the method of depreciation from written down value method to straight line method. ऐसे करके आप लिखोगे. And consistency means you should try to follow the same uniform policies and practices over a period of time. Don't keep fluctuating. Understood? So that is your consistency assumption. Now the last assumption that we are going to do is the accrual assumption. Accrual assumption का मतलब क्या है कि जो business transactions हैं जो रिकॉर्ड हो रहे हैं बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में, they are recorded when they are entered. When these transactions are actually happening, then you record it, and not when cash is received or due to be received, or cash is paid or due to be paid. समझ में आ रहा है? एक्रूअल अजम्पशन में आप ये नहीं देखते हो कि कैश आ रहा है या आ गया है या आने वाला है या कैश पे कर दिया है और या फिर पे करना है, उस पर नहीं डिपेंड करता है एक्रूअल रिकॉर्डिंग हैपेंस as soon as the transactions are entered, as soon as the work is done. ठीक है? You are least bothered whether cash is received or is due to be received. You are least bothered whether cash is paid or due to be paid. है ना? We have already done that revenue recognition concept. है ना? So उसमें क्या था? हमने क्या पढ़ा था कि revenue is recorded when it is earned. When is it recorded? When it is earned. Earned का मतलब क्या है? पैसों से नहीं है. It is earned when actual work is done. When goods are actually sold and delivered to the purchaser, at that point you will record the revenue. The point at which service is rendered to the customer, at that point revenue is earned and recorded. So it does not matter whether cash is received or due to be received or due to be received. So accrual concept में आप revenue को immediately record कर दोगे when it is earned. And expenses को कब record करोगे under accrual concept? Accrual concept assumption के under expenses will be recorded when they have actually occurred. When goods or services are purchased or availed. Services are availed and goods are purchased. At that moment only you will record the expenses. It does not matter whether the firm has paid cash or the cash is due to be paid. ठीक है? एक्सपेंस आप इमीडिएटली कब रिकॉर्ड कर लोगे? जैसे ही आपने गुड्स परचेज करे हैं उसी मोमेंट पे आप एक्सपेंस को रिकॉर्ड कर लोगे. या फिर अगर कोई सर्विस अवेल करी है फर्म ने तो इमीडिएटली द मोमेंट द सर्विस इज अवेल्ड यू विल रिकॉर्ड द एक्सपेंस. वो मैटर नहीं करता कि फर्म ने पे कर दिया है या करना है. अंडरस्टूड? सो देयर आर 4 टर्म्स इन accrual assumptions which are very, very important, and these are outstanding expenses, prepaid expenses, accrued income, unearned income. Outstanding expenses क्या होते हैं? जो expenses इस साल के हैं and you have not yet paid. That means expense due. You have to pay. The firm has to pay. So it is a liability for the firm. Outstanding expenses is a liability for the firm. You have to pay. So outstanding expense is a liability, and what do? You add it to the expense. You add it to the expense because ये pay तो करना ही है आपने. Now prepaid expense का मतलब क्या होता है? Prepaid means prepaid, पहले से ही pay कर दिया है of the next year. ठीक है? It is already paid. Already paid. कहाँ का? Next year का. Next year का. Okay. So it is like an asset for the firm. So what do? Prepaid expense को आप जो expenditure है उससे क्या कर दोगे? Minus कर दोगे. Why minus? Because it is not of that current year, it's of the next year. So you are going to subtract it from the expense. अब accrued income का मतलब क्या है? Income due. इनकम ड्यू मतलब मिलने वाली है बिजनेस को पर अभी मिली नहीं है, मिलने वाली है पर मिली नहीं है, सो इट इज लाइक एन असेट फॉर द फर्म, है ना, आने वाली है, अभी आई नहीं है पर आएगी, सो इट्स एन असेट। सो व्हाट यू डू, यू ऐड इट टू द इनकम। आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंस को आप क्या करते हो, ऐड कर देते हो लाइबिलिटी में, प्रीपेड को आप क्या कर देते हो, माइनस कर देते हो लाइबिलिटी से, एक्रूड इनकम को ऐड कर दोगे क्योंकि आएगी, अभी आई नहीं है, आएगी। अनअर्न्ड इनकम, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय अनअर्न्ड इनकम, इट इज income received in advance. Another name for unearned income is income received in advance. इसका मतलब आप फर्म को कुछ काम करना है पर अभी वो काम या सर्विस उसने प्रोवाइड नहीं करी है, but it is already given the advance. The firm that is purchasing the goods or the services from the business, it has already given advance. तो फर्म के लिए ये एक लाइबिलिटी है। अनअर्न्ड इनकम इज लाइक अ लाइबिलिटी फॉर द फर्म। क्यों? क्योंकि पैसे तो मिल गए हैं पर काम अभी तक उन्होंने स्टार्ट भी नहीं करा है, सो दे हैव अ लाइबिलिटी और एन ऑब्लिगेशन टू कंप्लीट द वर्क। ओके, सो unearned income is a liability, so this you are going to subtract, this you are going to subtract from the income, क्योंकि ये एक ऐसे काम के लिए मिली है इनकम है, ये ऐसे इनकम है जो ऐसे काम के लिए मिली है जो अभी तक आप फर्म ने कंप्लीट नहीं किया है, सो यू विल सबट्रैक्ट दिस। सो दीज आर आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंसेस, प्रीपेड एक्सपेंसेस, accrued income, unearned income, they are all adjusted to ascertain the true profit or loss in accrual assumption. accrual assumption में आप इन सब चारों चीजों को you will consider and you will make the adjustments in accrual assumption. With this, we come to an end to the theory base of accounting. And in the next video, which is a very, very important video, I'm already telling you, I'm going to put up very, very, very important questions relating to this chapter, all the assertion reasoning, all short questions, many MCQs. Okay, so please do watch my next video and do subscribe and share, like and comment to my YouTube channel, Simply Commerce. Thank you.